So now in this part, we are going to create our main menu. So let's change the scene to our menu scene. And after that, here I'm going to make canvas. So right click, UI, and canvas. So now I'm going to our canvas. Here we have UI scale mode. I'm going to change it scale with screen size. And I'm going to put it at, so I need first to go to our game. I'm going to put that instead of the aspect to HD quality 1920 1080. And also here I'm going to change it 1920 and 1080. That is the HD quality. So now our canvas, I'm going to right click, create an empty object, and I'm going to call that object main screen. So then here I'm going to the anchor. So let's first double click on that. Change the, instead of game to scene, to see your camera. So that is our object. I want to bring it to the edge of our camera. And then I'm going here to anchor and put it at that to stretch it always to the camera position. So now let's duplicate our menu skid. So you can right click and duplicate it, or just use the Control D to duplicate it. For another 3 times, I'm going to name them. I'm going to, one of them will be um, create room screen. The next one will be lobby screen. And the last one will be lobby browser screen. So now next part we need go to our main screen. Here I'm going to right click UI and input field text mesh pro. It want to import the text mesh pro asset to our project. So let's do it. So after import that, just close it, and now here we have this input field there. We can scale it a little bit. So I'm going to rename it to player input field. So now let's go to the text of our player input field. So that is also work here. Player input field, I'm going to write my name to see how it looks like. Right now I cannot see my name really big, so I need to scale it a little bit. So here at point size, I'm going to make it around 50 and going to put it at there. So around 68 or 70. So now we can remove that. We adjust the size. We can remove the name, and Now I'm going to open the text area, placeholder, and I'm going here instead using name or player name. You can write so what you want, and then punkt. So now when we are going to play, we should able to see that player name. As you see, there's inside, you can see the player name. It's a little bit too big. So I'm going to put it at 50. So now let's test it again. So actually it's too big for our, there I need to change that. 50 as well. So now as you see, we can see our text. Here I'm also going to change it to be the middle. So now that we adjust that, when we are going to write inside of that, will be like that. Or maybe I'm going to start it to be at the left side. So nice. And also I'm going to make it bold as well. So now we are going to make another so two button, but this time not input fields. This time is a button, normal button. So in our main screen, I'm going to right click UI, so button text mesh pro, and I'm going to resize it to the size of our input. Then I'm going to bring it down. So I'm going to rename it create room, and then I'm going to duplicate that one again. Going to call it find room. So now let's change the text of our buttons. So now to adjust our buttons, so we are going to in our main screen, right click, create an empty object. I'm going to call it container, and I'm going to bring it up. Then I'm going to resize our container. Going to make it a little bit bigger. Then here I'm going to add a vertical layout group. So then I'm going to put all our three buttons inside of that. So as you see, it's going to adjust it automatically. Let's go to our container again. We can remove the hide, and it's going to uh, remove the adjustment that automatically giving the space because we want to do it manually. So here in the spacing, I'm going to give it maybe 10. So to give a smaller space between them, or 15. So it's depend how far you want that they are going to be from each other. So now I'm going to duplicate our container, and then I'm going to bring it in under our create room screen. So now let's open it. Instead of player input field, we are going to call it room name input field. Now let's change the player name to room name. So now the create room, I'm going just to rename it to create. And text as well. Text we don't, just here we need instead of room, just write create. For find room, I'm going to rename it to back. So if the player want back to main menu, so now that we work on them, so we can disable them, disable also the main skin as well. So now let's go to our lobby screen. Here I'm going to right click UI image, and I'm going to make that image at the center of our screen. Just a little bit is less than around here. So now I'm going to rename it player list. Background. Now let's duplicate it, Control D, and bring it to the right side. So now I'm going to call that room info. So actually let's make it smaller because we don't need that big. So I'm going to make it like that, and it's because down of that I want to put some buttons. So now let's back to our player list and background. Here right click. I'm going UI using the Text Mesh Pro. I'm going to change make it bold, change the color to black, and then resize it to the size of our background. Now here instead of new text, we can write player name. So now I'm going to make the size a little bit bigger. So now I'm going also to rename that player list name, list text. Maybe I'm going to small it a little bit. Maybe someone has a large name, that's why. And then I'm going to duplicate that, Control D to duplicate it and put it under the home info. So I'm going to change that to room name text. So now let's bring it to the other side. Now let's make that smaller. So now that we create that, we can, the next things we can duplicate our container again. So Control D, duplicate that. And I'm going to bring the duplicate one under the child of our lobby screen. And let's adjust it to the right side. So bring it down. So we don't need the room name input field. We don't need that one. We can delete it. So now I'm going to container a little bit big. We don't want that to be so big. I'm going to make it smaller. And I want that these two buttons is coming down. So I'm going to make first activate the control child size, because if it's big, it's going to adjust it with the size of the object, so our container. So now I'm going to make it smaller. Instead, I can make that this one a little bit bigger, so the room info to be bigger. So now here also we can change it to room name. So now let's rename them. So instead of create, I'm going to call it a start game. Change the text as well to, so not here, actually start game. And here's also the back. Or we can change it to leave lobby, because player is now inside of the lobby. So now let's close them. We can disable them. And in the next part, we are going to work on our lobby browser skin. See you in the next video.